So today we are going to be reading one of my favorite books of all time, which is Tacky the Penguin. And while we are reading the book, we are going to be identifying story elements. So in this, we are going to be focusing on characters, and we are also going to be focusing on conflict. With conflict, what we are going to be focusing on is what does the characters in the book have to do with the conflict that's going on? Okay, cool. So Tacky the Penguin. Tacky the Penguin. There once lived a penguin. His home was a nice icy land he shared with his companions. His companions were named Goodly, Lovely, Angel, Neatly, and Perfect. His name was Tacky. Tacky was an odd bird. So what do you notice from the beginning between his companions and Tacky himself? Every day, Goodly, Lovely, Angel, Neatly, and Perfect greeted each other quietly and politely. Tacky greeted them with a hearty slap on the back and a loud, "What's happening?" How do you think his companions like that? Do you think they like the hearty slap? Goodly, Lovely, Angel, Neatly, and Perfect always marched. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tacky always marched. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 6, 0, 2.5, 0. Why do you think Tacky marches different than the other birds? His companions were graceful divers. Tacky liked to do splashy cannonballs. Goodly, Lovely, Angel, and Neatly, and Perfect always sang pretty songs like Sunshine on the Iceberg. Tacky always sang songs like How Many Toes Do the Fish Have? Tacky was an odd bird. Why do you think Tacky was an odd bird? What do you think's happening in the story? Why do you think Tacky's different than everybody else? One day, the penguins heard the thump, thump, thump of feet in the distance. This could only mean one thing. The hunters have come. They came with maps and traps and rocks and locks. They were rough and tough. As the thump, thump, thump drew closer, the penguins could hear the growly voices changing. We're gonna catch some pretty penguins and we'll march 'em with the switch. And we'll sell 'em for $1 and get rich, rich, rich. So what do you think these guys are going to do? Look at all the rocks and traps and stuff that they have. What do you think's gonna happen? Goodly, Lovely, Angel, and Neatly, Goodly, Lovely, Angel, Neatly, and Perfect ran away in fright. They hid behind a block of ice. Do you think those hunters caused them to hide from them behind the big... But if you look carefully, where's Tacky? Tacky's not in the picture. What do you think he's gonna go do? Tacky stood alone. The hunters marched right up to him, chanting, "We're gonna catch some pretty penguins and we'll march 'em with a switch and we'll sell 'em for $1 and get rich, rich, rich." Why do you think Tacky's not scared? I would be scared. "What's happening?" blared Tacky, giving one hunter an especially hearty slap on the back. They growled, We're hunting for penguins. That's what's happening. Do you see one of his companions in there? And there's Tacky. Penguins, said Tacky. Do you mean those birds that marched neatly in a row? And he marched. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 6, 0, 2.5, 0. The hunters looked puzzled. Do you mean those birds that dive so gracefully? Tacky asked. And he did a splashy cannonball. The hunters looked wet. Do you mean those birds that sing such pretty songs? Tacky began to sing, and from behind the block of ice came the voices of his companions, all singing loudly and dreadfully as they could. How many toes does a fish have, and how many wings on a cow? I wonder, yep, I wonder. What do you think is happening? Why do you think the hunters aren't finding any pretty penguins? The hunters could not stand the horrible singing. This could not be the land of the pretty penguins. They ran away with their hands clapped tightly over their ears, leaving behind their maps and traps, rocks and locks, and not looking all rough and tough. Do you think of what Tacky did caused the hunters to leave? And there wasn't any pretty penguins because they only saw Tacky. Goodly, lovely, angel, neatly, and perfect hugged Tacky. Tacky was an odd bird, but a very nice bird to have around. Do you think Goodly, lovely, angel, neatly, and perfect changed their mind about Tacky, even though he's such an odd bird? I think so. The end. So with this, we noticed the characters, who was Tacky and his companions. We also noticed the hunters as well. With the conflict in the book, we also focused on what happened. Why was Tacky being so odd caused the conflict in the book. That the hunters were not able to find those pretty penguins and they ran off. So Tacky technically was a hero.